Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, starts with a weather impact alert.
We hope you like the rain because we're in for a washout. A late season nor'easter will leave Connecticut waterlogged tomorrow. Our team has issued a weather impact alert over the threat of heavy downpours and strong winds. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Yeah, pack your umbrella for a cold and wet 24-hour stretch. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here to time it all out for us. Umbrella and also a jacket, Rachel. It's going to get cool.
Yeah, high temperatures will only be in the 40s tomorrow. So if you were thinking to yourself, oh, it feels chilly out there today, just wait. So it will be wet, it will be windy, it will be chilly and just altogether unpleasant. This is not going to be a high impact storm for us. I know when we hear nor'easter, we automatically think snowstorm, but we're just talking about a developing coastal low with winds out of the northeast. And we have this alert starting before daybreak and continuing right through this time tomorrow night. While I'm not expecting any significant flooding issues, there could be some isolated minor flooding, some street flooding, some flooding of poor drainage areas. So just, those typical spots on your street that might get ponding every time it rains really heavily. So what do you need? Maybe some additional travel time tomorrow and, of course, some rain gear. We're also not expecting winds to be strong enough to cause outages, but it will turn increasingly windy as we head through the afternoon and into the early evening. Here's a look at the radar. Just a few light showers out there. As we head through the overnight, I do think the rain will fill in a bit more, and we'll see those temperatures pretty much flat as we head through the evening tonight and into tomorrow. We are in the 40s from start to finish with periods of rain coming down heavily at times, and again, increasingly gusty winds. We'll take a closer look at all of this and the slow improvement for Memorial Day weekend coming up.
All right, Rachel, thanks. And Fox 61 has you covered for this end-of-season nor'easter. Download the free Fox 61 News app for live radar and 24/7 updates right on your phone. And, of course, download the Fox 61 Plus for free on your TV for forecasts from our team.
People in Norwich and surrounding communities are preparing before the storm, not because we're expecting any significant flooding there, but as a precaution because of what has happened before.
Yeah, the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments hosted a public meeting to discuss ways to prevent severe flooding in their cities and towns. Fox 61's Valerie Moravi talked to neighbors about flooding concerns.
Yeah, people living in Norwich and owners of local businesses like these ones on Town Street have experienced severe flooding for years. Now, people I spoke with tell me they're concerned that a long-term solution may take years or even decades. This video provided by a woman who lives in Norwich shows the damage caused by severe flooding from January of 2024. Steve Gambeski has lived in the city for 61 years. He says this kind of damage is not unusual.
There's a lot of concerns because the waterways have never been taken care of. It's been, we're looking at a 50-year plan, I'm hoping, so we can get this justified and move on. But it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of vegetation to be removed.
Wednesday night, people gather at a meeting held by Resilient Yantic River Project team. The goal of the meeting was to inform those living in flood-prone areas like Norwich, Bosra, and Franklin. Helen Sienkiewicz is the Director of Regional Planning with Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments. She says it's important for people to come together to determine the best actions for reducing flood damage in the future.
It really depends where you are, but it can be really significant, and there are some critical facilities that are in the mix. So, we think about Bacchus and the lower parking lot. We want to have some solutions that make sure that's a community health lifeline, trying to make sure, especially those critical facilities, are protected better.
Right now, there's an ongoing feasibility study that is working to determine areas that are most at risk as the years pass.
We really do want to look at a range of solutions, and what we're finding in the research is that there is no kind of one silver bullet that's gonna address flood risk for the entire corridor. It's going to be a lot of cumulative actions that we're all going to have to take together, and that's going to add up to kind of really reducing who's the life and property that could be at risk during a flood.
Gambeski says he hopes state officials can take action to help improve infrastructure.
Hopefully they can get some stages done and get this resolved for the businesses and hopefully not loss of life. We need to do this for the state and federal level. because it's getting ridiculous. We maintain our bridges, we maintain our roadways, we don't do anything with our waterways.
He says all he can do is take necessary precautions whenever severe weather is in the forecast.
Yeah, salt pumps, vacs, whatever's needed.
Now, local leaders say they're talking with state officials to help fund infrastructure improvements for a long-term solution. In Norwich, I'm Valerie Moravi, Fox 61.
The budget battle continues in the town of New Milford. Parents, students, educators, taxpayers, all tangled up in what has become a financial mess.
The fight is over the Board of Education's budget going into the next fiscal year. Fox 61's Kate Pattyfoot has been following this story. She brings us tonight's new developments.
New Milford's Board of Finance meeting was packed again Wednesday night. People showed up hoping the town would reverse a recent referendum vote and help avoid cuts to the district. The budget battle in New Milford is far from over.
Save New Milford schools!
After voters overwhelmingly rejected the budget for next fiscal year, students, teachers, parents, and taxpayers in New Milford packed the town's finance meeting on Wednesday. The town's referendum vote had a massive turnout of 40% of people who voted on Tuesday. Of that 40%, 78% of those voters said no to the budget.
I think that's unprecedented. I think normally in a referendum we get about 10% of voters out. Just 40% is just amazing. The town has spoken. This is just too low of an education budget.
Based on the information supplied in the referendum vote. When we have the vote, we also have advisory questions, too high, too low, or adequate. And the vast majority of the electors voted it was too low. So that is what we did tonight. We adjusted the budgets up.
Many people gathered in hopes of restoring the Board of Education's budget.
I hope they restore the budget to the original superintendents. It's a very, very clear statement. There is no question that anybody didn't want it raised.
Wednesday night, the Board of Finance voted to restore the original budget of a little over $76 million.
I'm extremely happy with the decision that was made by the Board of Finance. I think this whole thing could have been avoided from the beginning without the cuts being made, but the fact that they restored the full amount just shows that they heard what the people had to say.
It makes me feel really happy because that's a lot of money for the school system and a lot of the new teachers that we have, like, for example, the chorus teacher won't necessarily have to leave.
Thank you, New Milford voters.
On Thursday, the town council will vote on this budget, and they'll also set another date for a town referendum vote. In New Milford, Kate Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
A man's charged with having child sex abuse material, and police say they were able to catch him with some help. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson talked to police about the group who tipped him off.
Catching online predators is usually a job for law enforcement, but in this day and age, anyone with social media can take it upon themselves to catch suspected criminals. That's why Ansonia police are advising these people to be careful.
It was possession of child abuse, sexual abuse material on his personal phone.
Lieutenant Patrick Lynch is talking about 36-year-old Roger Pratt from Naugatuck. Police arrested him last week. He says it wasn't an investigation that started with the Ansonia Police Department, but rather an online predator hunting group. Lieutenant Lynch says the group calls themselves Predator Poachers, an out-of-state predator hunting group that travels to catch and confront suspected predators like Roger Pratt. Lieutenant Lynch warns against this extreme vigilantism.
It is a legal practice. We're not going to discourage that. We will take all the information that they get. Confronting someone that they don't know what the reaction is going to be. They don't know if the person will attack them. So it's kind of a dangerous situation that we would rather not have to wade through at the end. They're not immune to an investigation. If they do something that crosses the line, then they could find themselves being investigated if they try to use force to stop the person and stuff like that. So it's just better that they gather the information and they pass it to the police department for further investigation.
Lieutenant Lynch says that this is the first time Ansonia police have seen a predator hunter group in the area and advise that any future groups please come to the police department if they have enough evidence against a potential predator. In Ansonia, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
Well, all children on a Meriden school bus had to evacuate and move to a new bus after one of their peers sprayed pepper spray on the floor. Meriden police tell us it happened this afternoon near Seppa Field in town. All the kids on the bus were exposed, but thankfully no one was seriously hurt. The fire department helped with decontamination efforts.
Well, today some people were arrested after staging a protest inside the governor's office. They were demanding what they call more equitable education funding. Educators and advocates. Yeah, those educators and advocates gathered at the Capitol today. They want Governor Lamont to fully fund Connecticut's public schools, and they want better support for special education. Today's rally highlights the concerns people have had about underfunded schools and learning disparities all across the state. And it's been a busy final stretch at the state capitol.
Yeah, with just 2 weeks left in the session, lawmakers are making moves on key bills, and we begin with a push to hold insurers accountable. The state Senate passed a bill to enforce mental health parity laws. It lets the insurance department fine companies that violate coverage rules. The bill also expands access to critical medications without step therapy. The goal is to improve enforcement and get better care for patients.
A bill to expand Connecticut's Trust Act has cleared the House. It limits local police cooperation with federal immigration authorities. The bill also lets people sue if local agencies violate the rules. It's heading to the Senate with the governor's support.
And one that got a lot of buzz, that bill on movie start times won't become law quite yet. The original plan would have fined theaters for late starts, but lawmakers scrapped that idea, opting for a study instead. It'll look at ways to support family entertainment in Connecticut.